This is the Dan Gemis Real Estate Show. Heard every Saturday and Sunday from noon to 1 p.m. right here on AM800.
Thank you for doing a good job as always.
Now back to the show with broker owner and host, Dan Gemis.
Okay, with you till 1 o'clock today, and in studio, as usual, Joyce Blackmere. Hey, Joyce, how are you?
Hey, great, thanks.
Well, great. Now, listen, something that we often hear as realtors in Windsor, Essex, especially over the last few years, and the prices have been climbing naturally, right? And people say, well, how are my kids ever going to afford, to buy a house? It's going to take, years and years and years. They'll be living at home forever. And something we often say is, well, the GTA, Vancouver, other larger markets have had, unaffordable prices for a very long time, 10, 15 years. Mm-hmm. So I said this week, I said, Joyce, let's get Alysha on, who's in the GTA market. Let's get her, her thoughts on how they've been doing it, how they've been dealing with it in the GTA over the last little bit. And so on the phone, sales rep with Century 21 Leading Edge and a friend of ours, Alysha McLean. Hey, Alysha, how are you?
I'm good, Dan. Thanks so much for having me on today. I'm excited. Great to hear your voice.
Oh, my goodness. Hey, listen, I hear you're heading back home from a little getaway.
Yes, this weekend, start of March break, I decided to take a little bit of a disconnect recharge, so I'm just coming back in from up in Muskoka. So I'm excited to be able to join you guys today.
Well, thank you for taking the time. We appreciate it. So listen, it's something that, like I said at the top of the interview here, we've heard it for years and years and years. How are our first-time home buyer children going to afford to get into real estate? So it's something you guys have been dealing with for years out in the GTA. So typically, what are you seeing?
Yeah, so it's a question that a lot of people are having right now, Dan, and that always think that the thought behind it is, well, maybe the prices will go down, but as we see, the prices continue to go up, and that makes home ownership starting out kind of challenging. So the biggest thing that I've started to see more than ever right now is the parents who are really seeing this trajectory and looking out for their kids' future. And a lot of them right now are going into early inheritance. So we're seeing a lot of parents contribute to the down payments or at least get them going and pulling some equity out of their homes. And that's one of the big ones we're seeing right now in this area and have for some time. It's been starting to get a little bit more in the market as we're trying to get more people into the market.
Now, looking into your market, what is the price of your typical first-time home buyer property? What's the lower end of the market?
Yeah, so it's going to depend if you're going to take the approach of just getting in at a condo level, and some of those are now starting in that 500 to 600 for a bachelor or a very small one-bedroom. Others that are looking for not condo, but something more traditional, like a townhouse, you're cresting into that million mark, and you can get a little bit just below that, but again, it's not going to be turnkey, and some of these younger people want it all done for them, so it's really, you can get something a little bit less than that, but you're going to have to put some elbow grease into it. Otherwise, you're probably looking in and around that $1 million mark right now.
So go ahead. So what doesn't require much elbow grease? What's that price range look like for perspective?
Yeah, so for perspective, if you're in that million, even just cresting over $1 million, you'll get something, maybe not the largest, but something that you could definitely move in ready to and do some cosmetics, like some paint or something like that. But, overall, if you're looking for a detached now, and we're just outside of the GTA, we're in the GTA just outside of Toronto proper, and you're looking at something at about $1.1 million to $1.3 million if you're looking at a detached. But that townhouse even, condo townhouse is just under $1 million, but a freehold townhouse here, definitely looking in that $1 million range for something move-in ready and a little bit more modern.
What are the fees looking like on top of that for condos?
Yeah, so they range, Joyce. Here it depends on the age of the building. Something a little bit newer, you're going to get a little bit less in condo fees. If you're looking for a larger square footage in condos, your maintenance tends to be higher because it's based on price per square foot. And they're ranging anywhere from a townhouse condo complex no bells or whistles for, $200 or $300, which is very reasonable, up to a traditional townhouse apartment, and we're seeing condo fees anywhere between $500 and $900, just depending on the age of the building. So that's a big factor too, as you're looking at condo fees on top of, your mortgage, on top of your property tax. So it all starts to add up.
So
we're done. We can't even talk anymore.
And it's eye-opening, right? Because again, here in Windsor, Essex, we've gone from our average price of $200,000, $250,000 to now our average price is in the between $500,000 and $600,000, and
for a detached.
Yeah, for detached, right?
Yeah.
And your first-time home buyers, you're looking at 3 easy plus.
Oh, yeah.
3, 4.
3 is elbow grease all day.
Which to us is crazy, right? So to think that you're spending $1 million for something that just doesn't require much elbow grease, it's really, to me, that's shocking. And so you must have to really be a young professional career person to even look at, how do you even are friends buying properties together? You must have a lot of in-law suites happening.
Yeah, they're getting creative, Dan. I have to say, what I find about this new generation of first-time home buyers, the biggest thing that I find stands out is that they're very aware of their credit. They're very aware of what they're hoping to achieve. And so I've been fortunate enough to work with some real go-getters who got into the job market right out of school and have been diligently saving, and they don't overspend. And that's a big component of it too. When you're staying at home with mom and dad, take the free ride and start banking some money. We see the other side of people just continuing, to live like they're rock stars, and then they're in a different position. But also at that point, they're starting to see what the rents are costing, and really it becomes 6 to 1, half dozen another when you look at mortgage versus rent. It's really going to come down to that down payment. So we're seeing some people get really creative and very determined to know that, as the future holds, that home ownership is going to be really important, especially from a financial perspective. So those that are really smart about it are really diligent. Others are starting to see, as they're getting into their later 20s, early 30s, and starting to think about family. And that's where we're starting to see, couples come together, not so much from a relationship, but as a cohabitating, as some solutions here. Yeah, it's interesting.
Wow. Now, I've only got about 90 seconds left, but before we let you go, what have you been seeing in general over the last couple of months with the market in the GTA?
Yeah, the inventory levels are still incredibly low here. We need more listings to come on the market. There's definitely a lot of buyers. The buyers are just a little bit more cautious, but in pockets we're back to multiple offers. In other pockets, we're seeing some oversaturation. So I think overall it's going to be an interesting year, but there's definitely homes to be bought and sold. But definitely we need more listings here for sure.
Yeah, same as our market. We're seeing the same thing, a little bit of flux and some multiple offers, others just sitting around. It's interesting times for sure. Now, listen, I can't thank you enough for taking some time from your weekend off for us, Alysha. It's much appreciated. And listen, drive safe. I know you're pulled over to chat with us, so drive the rest of your getaway safely. And thanks for taking the time with us.
Thanks, Alysha.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Dan and Joyce. It was a pleasure to be on with you guys today. Have a great Sunday.
You too. It's Alysha McLean, sales rep with Century 21 Leading Edge in Markham, Ontario. Geez, someone texted in while we were talking with Alysha. So she's saying if your parents aren't helping you out, you're out of luck. How about the kids without this advantage? Yeah, it's like she said, right? They have to get creative. It's wow, it's $1 million.
It's tough. I'm in I have kids in that demographic that are they're in school, so it's tough for them to put aside a lot of extra money for anything aside from their day-to-day, especially in this economy. But the reality is really sinking in. It's like, geez, unless they're putting money aside every single month and have a goal for a certain amount for a down payment, I don't know. But she made a good point, because we're seeing a lot here too, where parents are doing the payments. They're pulling out their money from their equity from their houses and giving their kids money. But like this texter said,
not every family has that ability.
No,
which,
exactly.
So it's
most don't.
Interesting times for sure. So there you have it. We're going to come back and we're going to talk with Chris Gibb from Gibb Insurance Brokers about what to do if branches fall down in your yard, on your house, on your property, on your car. How do you handle it? On your neighbor's car, on a fence, all that kind of stuff. So that's a great topic. Yes, another texter just said, there's no way a home should cost this much. This is why there's so many homeless. Yep, I agree. It's not a good situation for sure, and there's no sign of it letting up anytime soon for all the reasons we've talked about over the last few weeks here on the show, and as I've been on with Patty and Dan and Mike and Lisa, and it's interesting. So, okay, we'll take a break. We're going to come back. We're going to give away a gift card for the Richmond Popcorn Company, $50 in the next couple segments as well. If you haven't already entered, text us right now with the keyword movie and your first and last name for your chance to win. Movie, first and last name to 10800 for your chance to win the gift card for the Richmond Popcorn Company. Lots more to come right here on the Dan Gemis Real Estate Show.